I want to bring in the Federal MP, Shadow Minister for Immigration and Citizenship, the member for Wannon in Country Victoria, Dan Tehan. Dan, welcome. I will get to your portfolio in a moment, but I want to get your reaction, if I can, on behalf of regional Victorians on the resignation of the Premier, Daniel Andrews, today.
Well, it couldn't have come soon enough, Peter. As you know, regional and rural Victoria have been devastated by 9 years of Daniel Andrews. The roads are crumbling. We're facing a very bad fire season this year, and people forget he decimated the Country Fire Authority volunteers. They are now out calling and trying to recruit volunteers because of what he did in allowing the United Firefighters Union into the Country Fire Authority in Australia. Our hospitals in regional and rural Victoria are at breaking point. Schools are at breaking point. We can't get the doctors that we need. Sadly, regional and rural Victorians are poorer, and the state of Victoria is poorer after 9 years of Daniel Andrews. And I would imagine there will be mothers taking their kids to playgrounds today celebrating that he's gone, because you'll all remember the lockdowns. It was so bad here in Victoria, they put fences and tapes around the playground so kids couldn't play. That's how bad it got.
All right, let's go to federal issues, Dan. You're calling on the Albanese government to abolish a visa program that has swollen to include 128,000 workers since last year. That's on top of all the other numbers of people coming through as migrants, close to 500,000 in the last 12 months. Your call, of course, comes after AMP Chief Economist Shane Oliver said that net migration has got to be halved down to around 200,000 a year. He says if we're going to have any chance to take pressure off the housing market. Now, this is common sense. It's something now, too, we know a majority of Australians support. Why on earth, then, is Labor spending billions and billions of money we don't have? It's all borrowed money on housing. At the same time, on our borders, it's open slather.
Because they've got no plan for immigration, and they've never had a plan. They didn't do the work in opposition. And since they've been in government, all they've been doing is letting more and more people in. The 1.5 million over 5 years that they forecast is now likely to be 1.6 million and growing. They are doing nothing to stop people coming in by plane legally and then claiming asylum, failing those claims, and they're still staying here. They've been sitting on reports that will try and fix this problem and doing nothing. The Immigration Minister, Andrew Giles, has been going around the country literally campaigning for the Yes campaign with The Voice rather than doing his day job. And like always happens, Peter, and you know this, Labor is making a complete mess of immigration in this country.
Well, I said I'd give you, my viewers, a bit of a snippet of a great speech today by known campaigner Warren Mundine at the National Press Club. He rubbished in the speech the Yes campaign's claim that The Voice will lead us towards reconciliation. Have a listen.
The Uluru Statement couldn't be further from the idea of reconciliation. The full manifesto is steeped in grievance. It sees Indigenous Australians as trapped in victimhood and oppression, not free or able to make their own decisions. Self-determination is an unrealised aspiration. This is a lie.
All right, we're down at the business end of this referendum campaign now, Dan. What's the sentiment you're hearing out there as you get around to communities, migrant communities in particular, and discuss this voice?
Well, there's really two things. The first of all is they are deeply, deeply concerned that the government is not focused on the things that are really important to people at this time, and that goes to cost of living and housing. And we've seen with the migration debate, they're definitely not focused on housing, with 1.6 million people coming in over 5 years. They're hearing nothing from Anthony Albanese about the promised $275 reduction in their electricity bills, and energy prices, both gas and electricity, continue to rise. So they see a government distracted, but they also see a referendum which is all about the government saying to them, trust us. They're not providing any detail. They want to know the detail. They want to know simple answers to questions like, what would the representation be of Indigenous people from regional and rural Victoria? We know there'd only be 2 people on The Voice. Would any of the representation come from regional and rural Victoria? Would they be appointed? Would they be democratically elected? There is none of the details to any questions like that one or any others, and that really, really concerns people.
All right, I'll leave it there. We're a bit pushed for time, Dan, but I think you're spot on about the lack of detail. Thank you as always.